Good Friday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather forecast, we'll be tracking a powerful storm system bringing heavy mountain snow, flooding rainfall to the west coast, and widespread severe weather as we go into early next week. All of what you need to know later on here in this video. If you guys here are new to the channel and have yet to subscribe, hit the subscribe button down below, guys. We're getting towards 10,000 subscribers. Each and every one of you joining here this morning, hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. I cover Canada, the United States, and the tropics. So again, hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell to get all of the updates on this channel. Also press the like button. It helps to get all this weather information here out to more and more people. So everybody press the like button as well. I definitely appreciate it. Looking here this morning across the satellite view of the United States, we got two systems we're talking about bringing some severe weather and some heavier rain across the deep south and the Gulf Coast here this morning. We also have another storm system moving in across the Pacific Northwest, bringing all that heavy mountain snow and flooding rain across the west coast over the past 48 hours or so, and that will continue as we get into the New Year's holiday weekend. Looking here this afternoon, these are your high temperatures across the deep south and the southeast. We'll see highs widespread 50s and 60s across much of the Tennessee Valley, across the Gulf Coast here up through the Carolinas, and even some 80s being shown down into central and southern Florida here. Meanwhile, the cooler air will be up to the north here across the upper Midwest and the Dakotas. We'll see highs back into portions of the 20s and into the teens for highs later on this afternoon in those areas. As we get into New Year's Eve, on Saturday, December 31st, we'll see widespread 50s and 60s down here across the south, even some 70s showing up across Texas here, Louisiana, and the Gulf Coast, some 80s more widespread into Florida, and again, all that colder air with that snowpack will remain across portions of North Dakota, northeastern South Dakota, into northern Minnesota with those mid to upper 20s for highs on New Year's Eve. And then as we go into Sunday, January 1st, to start 2023 on New Year's Day, we're going to see all that widespread warmth continue across the deep south with widespread 50s, 60s, and 70s across places like Texas, Oklahoma, into Kansas, into Arkansas, and much of the deep south and the southeast. And again, those snowpack areas up here to the north across the Dakotas into Minnesota will see highs suppressed down into the teens and 20s later on into the day on Sunday. But looking here today, the Storm Prediction Center has hoisted a marginal risk of severe weather across portions of the New Orleans region, getting in towards southern Mississippi, the Mobile, Alabama area, and a far northwestern panhandle here of Florida. That does continue eastward as we head into tomorrow on Saturday, New Year's Eve. We're going to be seeing that marginal risk for severe weather across northwest Florida, southeastern portions of Alabama, and southwestern Georgia as well. So tracking this, we got a squall line of showers and storms pushing across the Gulf Coast as we get through the morning hours toward the noon time frame here today. The leading edge of this line of storms could be producing damaging winds, large hail, and possibly even an isolated brief tornado as well as it marches to the east here this morning. Getting through the afternoon and into the evening hours around the 6 o'clock time frame now, we're going to start to weaken this line of showers and storms down as it pushes to the east and outruns the instability. We're going to start to see more of the sunshine here starting to wane into the 6 o'clock hour as the sun does set earlier. So again, that instability will be decreasing in intensity. So this will be more of showery activity, maybe some rumbles of thunder left over to the south of into portions of southern Alabama and to northwestern Florida. But other than that, not seeing much in the way of severe weather here this evening. But going into Saturday, again, another area of severe weather, potentially some marginally severe storms across portions of Georgia, southeastern Alabama, and northwest Florida here as we head into the noon time frame on New Year's Eve tomorrow, and then into the evening time frame that will push up into the Carolinas, mainly with general thunderstorms in those areas, maybe a couple of severe storms into southern Georgia and northwest Florida going into Saturday evening here on December 31st around 6 o'clock. Looking at the heavy rainfall potential across these areas, widespread rainfall amounts in the dark greens to the blue shaded colors here. That's anywhere from a half an inch all the way up to about an inch and a half worth of rain here across portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia as well. And that really covers most of the deep south and the southeast. This goes all the way through Sunday, January 1st here of 2023. So definitely some needed rain across parts of these areas. I know a lot of these areas are in drought, so definitely some much needed rain rain across these areas here going into the weekend. And again, looking area wide across the entire lower 48 here of the United States for New Year's Eve, we got that storm system trekking its way off to the east with a lot of rainfall up and down the east coast here from Maine to Florida and everywhere in between. But to the west, we got another powerful low pressure system that is going to be sparking very heavy flooding rains across California into portions of Nevada, Utah, and northwestern Arizona, but heavier mountain snow across the Intermountain West going into New Year's Eve. That will be moving its way to the southeast across the Four Corner states in places like Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and even portions of New Mexico as we get into Sunday, January 1st of 2023 on New Year's Day. So that's what we'll be continuing to keep an eye on as we get towards that time frame. But with this storm system, as it's moving in over the past 72 hours across much of the West Coast and really the western 2/3 of the United States, we've seen a lot of very heavy rain, especially the coastal areas of Washington State, Oregon, all the way down into north central California here. We're talking rainfall amounts over the past 72 hours of around 2 to 5 inches, and we're going to be adding on to that in a big way in the coming days with another powerful storm system moving in across the west. We're also talking about the last 72 hours worth of snowfall accumulation across the Intermountain West here, including the Rocky Mountains and the Sierra Nevadas in California. Feet of snow has fallen across much of these areas, and we'll be adding to these totals again in a big way in the coming days as this powerful storm moves in. So looking across the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast in general, we have these winter weather advisories here in the purple shaded colors from Washington State down through Oregon, Colorado, portions there of the Rocky Mountain states. And we also have these pink shaded colors in the mix as well toward the Salt Lake City area, western portions of Wyoming, getting down here into northeastern Nevada and the Sierra Nevadas as well into California. That is for a winter storm warning that we're going to be expecting feet of snow and possibly several feet of snow as well. And then in these green shaded colors across north central California, getting into northwestern Nevada, that is actually flood watches here where we're going to be watching for the threat of some excessive rainfall and flash flooding in the days to come. And it's all due to this very strong upper level jet streak moving across the western United States here, a very powerful 120 to 140 mile per hour jet streak here moving across the desert southwest and the west coast, bringing all of that Pacific moisture in across California, Nevada, and much of the Four Corners states as we get here into this afternoon. That will continue on Saturday and even Sunday on January 1st of 2023 across Arizona, Utah, getting into Colorado and New Mexico as we get into that time frame with some very heavy mountain snow and some very heavy rain as well. So going into the noon time frame here today, we got the heavier rain across northern California, southwestern Oregon, heavier snow up across the upper elevations of the Pacific Northwest with feet of snow likely here. A lot of these areas will be seeing snowfall rates over an inch, if not over 2 inches per hour through the day today. That will continue as we get into New Year's Eve on Saturday, December 31st to end the year of 2022. This is the noon time frame here. Some very heavy snow breaking out across the Sierra Nevadas, heavy rainfall into places like Sacramento and to San Francisco, California. And then into portions of Oregon, northeastern California, northern Nevada, and all the way across here to the east towards the Rocky Mountains, we're going to be seeing those higher elevation snows in a big way as we get into New Year's Eve. And that continues to push its way off to the south and east here on Sunday, New Year's Day on January 1st to start the year of 2023 around the noon time frame. Very heavy rainfall and snow, especially into those higher elevations going into that time frame. So looking here at the total accumulation here for the liquid precipitation, this is your rainfall out there across California into Nevada and Utah. We're going to be talking about excessive rainfall, especially back across portions of California here. We're going to be talking about 2 to 4 plus inches of rain across portions of northern and central California, and then a little swath of some heavier rain across northern Nevada, around 1 inch to 2 inches there. So we'll be watching for some excessive rainfall in the days to come. And in fact, the Weather Prediction Center on the day one excessive rainfall outlook has outlooked north central California with a green and yellow shaded color here and that is for a marginal to slight risk for flash flooding as we go through the day today. And then that moves farther south towards Los Angeles, getting into Sacramento here, San Diego, and even San Francisco as we head into tomorrow on day 2. This will be bringing some flash flooding potentials farther south into Southern California at that time as well. But concerning that snowfall potential out there, and it's going to be a very big snow across the west here, heavy mountain snow, several feet of snow likely in many areas around the Salt Lake City area, getting into Wyoming here, across the western Colorado Rockies, and then getting back especially into the Sierra Nevadas and central California. We're talking about several feet of snow on the way, so definitely here refilling that watershed out west. And looking at the winter storm impacts here from this system, we're going to have some moderate to even major, if not even extreme impacts, especially across the Sierra Nevadas and around the Salt Lake City area. That's where we're going to see those more major and extreme impacts from this winter storm as we go through this weekend. So definitely keep an eye on that if you are traveling out west. But as this system moves across the desert southwest, this is going to strengthen to a 1,000 millibar low pressure system somewhere across New Mexico and the panhandle of Texas going into early next week on Monday, January 2nd. And that will really strengthen across portions of Iowa and the upper Midwest to a 994 millibar low as we head into Tuesday, January 3rd. And what this is going to do is actually provide a very tight temperature gradient between the northwestern United States and the southeastern United States as well. We're going to be talking about teens and 20s for highs across portions of the Pacific Northwest all the way over here towards the upper Midwest and much of southern Canada as well. But across the southern plains, the Tennessee Valley, and the southeast, we're going to be opening up the floodgates for a very big warm-up across these areas with some 50s, 60s, and even some 70s out there as we go into Monday timeframe here early next week. And that continues with that deep warm sector moving all the way up into northern Illinois, portions of southern Michigan, and the Ohio Valley with those 50s and 60s up there, and some 70s farther south as we get into Tuesday, January 3rd timeframe. And again, that colder air will be sticking around on the backside of the system, bringing some heavier snow across portions of the upper Midwest and the Central Plains going into early next week. And again, concerning that warm sector, we're going to have a lot of moisture moving up from the Gulf of Mexico into the southern plains and around the Arklatex region going into Monday here with those dew points rising well into the 60s out there. That will continue to spread all the way up to the Ohio Valley with those 60-degree dew points as we head into the day on Tuesday. And then finally, as we get toward the middle of the week on Wednesday, January 4th, we'll see that cold front move all the way across the East Coast, bringing those 60-degree dew points up across portions of New Jersey and the Mid-Atlantic, all the way down through the Carolinas and into Georgia and Florida during that time frame. So looking here at the day 4 probability for severe weather from the Storm Prediction Center, they have actually upgraded parts of the Arklatex here, including Little Rock, getting down into Shreveport, Louisiana, and far northeast Texas here, to a 30% shading or an enhanced risk for severe weather and a likely severe weather outbreak to unfold as we head into the Monday afternoon and Monday night time frame. So definitely be on high alert if you live in those areas. But even then, we're going to be seeing a 15% shading moving up across western and middle Tennessee toward the Nashville area, western Kentucky, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, and then back across the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex into East Texas. So definitely be on high alert as we go into the day on Monday. That will spread farther east on Tuesday with that 15% shading and a slight risk for severe weather, now encompassing more of Louisiana, getting into central, southern Mississippi, and much of Alabama. This covers the Jackson, Mississippi area, just to the north of New Orleans, and then across portions here of Alabama into the Birmingham and Tuscaloosa areas as we head through the day on Tuesday. So looking at the severe probabilities out there, we are under that level 2 and 3 risk here as we get into early next week. So that's that slight to enhanced risk for severe weather. So increased to high confidence of severe weather, which could contain damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes across parts of the Arklatex and the Deep South, which means isolated to even numerous severe storms are likely, if not expected, as we get into early next week. So definitely monitor the latest forecasts as we get a little bit closer to fine tune these probabilities. But As we head into early next week on Monday, we got that low pressure system deepening across the desert southwest or the panhandle of Texas here. Some severe weather will be breaking out across portions of Texas, getting into the Arklatex here, into the Arkansas, Louisiana, and much of Oklahoma as we head here into Monday afternoon. Going into the overnight hours here, this is a nocturnal severe weather threat across the deep south here. We definitely have to be on high alert for the potential of overnight tornadoes, damaging winds, and also large hail, and of course the heavy rainfall threat that does come with it. Heavy rainfall will be a big threat across the Illinois Valley here into southern Iowa and portions of Indiana as well. So even though you're not in the severe weather threat up to the north across those areas, definitely going to be talking about some heavier rainfall, maybe even some rumbles of thunder going into the evening hours on Monday. And then as we go into Tuesday here, we have that swath of very heavy snow setting up across Nebraska, western Iowa, South Dakota, and southern Minnesota here, and that will be moving its way eastward towards northern Wisconsin. But farther to the south, that severe weather outbreak will continue to unfold as we head into Tuesday afternoon across Mississippi, Alabama, and much of the southeast during that time frame. And then moving through the morning hours on Wednesday, we'll kick that severe weather threat off to the east here, and potentially some lingering severe weather perhaps as far east as the Carolinas, Georgia, and North Florida as we head into Wednesday morning. Looking at the severe weather setup, we have a very powerful mid-level jet moving in here across the southern plains and the Arklatex here, almost taking a negative tilt around 50 to 60 knots or a little bit higher than that. And we'll also have a very robust low-level jet here in the 850 millibar layer around 60 to 70 knots. This is very concerning, especially this late in the season. This is early January, guys, so definitely very concerned of an out-of-season severe weather threat across this area. And of course, the heavy rainfall threat that does go with it here. Like I said, just here, not seeing severe weather up to the north, but we're going to be talking about heavy rainfall across Iowa, getting into northern Missouri, much of northern and central Illinois, and across the Ohio Valley here, where we're not seeing the severe weather. We're going to be seeing some very heavy rainfall and some rumbles of thunder with this system going into the early and middle portion of next week. Rainfall amounts will be averaging around 1 to 2 inches across those areas. And then again, farther to the south, we're going to be seeing the heavy rainfall amounts add up in a big way across the Tennessee Valley and the Gulf Coast, with again widespread 1 to 2+ inches of rain as we head towards the middle of next week. And concerning that swath of snow, looks like here we're keying in on a 6+ inch band of snow somewhere across portions of Nebraska, getting across northwest Iowa, southern portions there of South Dakota, and southern Minnesota, and that will extend into northern Wisconsin as well here, generally north of Madison and north of La Crosse, Wisconsin, as we head through that time frame into the middle of next week with a few inches of snow up there. So that is something we'll keep an eye on. But going into the second week in January, it does look like it's going to be a very warm start to the second week of January as well, with those much above normal temperatures continuing all the way through January 12th. And a very active weather pattern continuing across the desert southwest and the west coast as well, which is very good news considering we're actually still in a very big drought across California and the west coast and really the middle of the country here, with the severe, extreme, and exceptional drought really continuing here. This is the latest drought monitor here from the U.S. Drought Mitigation Center, and you see on December 27th, that was just updated yesterday, we're talking, or a couple of days ago rather, we're going to be talking about a lot of drought areas that do need the rainfall. So that is something we'll keep an eye on moving forward. Hopefully we can get some much needed rain across the west and across the middle of the country in the days ahead. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. Remember to like the video down below, give it a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Friday, everyone, a great New Year's holiday weekend, and I will see you all in the next video.